Hello, my name is Peter Craggs, and I'm the author of this book, When Harry Met Vicky, A Fatal Attraction Growing Up with My Parents. It's a memoir. It's a memoir about my childhood growing up with my parents. Parents that were coming from two different parts of the world. My father, being a typical northeastern Englishman, joined the Royal Hong Kong Police Force in the 1950s, and then my mother, coming from communist China, running away from the communists and the suppression and the suffering that was going on there. She ran away twice from China from the Second World War, and then having to run from the communists when they came in the 1940s, the late 1940s. So it tells of my childhood growing up with them. They were very, very insecure people in many ways. They tried their best to give a steady childhood to me, and childhood is very important for most people to have a stability as well. But unfortunately, my father was a typical Geordie who was addicted to his drinking, and the drinking was a way of life and culture in those days, and certainly became it over here in Hong Kong, and certainly in the northeast of England, and still is today. And that drink destroyed a lot of his life and destroyed a lot of the relationship and, of course, his marriage to my mother. So it tells of my intimate experience with these two very, very different people, but very, very honest people in their heart. They tried their best, but they had all these flaws that they didn't have any support. And I describe it in my book, of course, as a son, being very, very close to my father, being particularly close to my father, that I was able to try to understand him as a man. But of course, as a young person, as a young adolescent, I could only understand him to a certain degree. And also trying to see how my mother was tolerating his addictive drinking behavior, which basically killed him eventually. So it's quite a tragic story, but it's an honest story. It's a story that talks about East and West and how they conflict in terms of cultures. It tells you about the history of Hong Kong and how it was quite underdeveloped, and right up until the 1970s, where I grew up, and now it's just become a modern financial metropolis, successful financial hub of Asia. So it really is quite an honest story. Of course, I tell it from the heart, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and I hope I can share with the audience to talk about how being brought up as an East and West has its advantages and also has its very, very serious contradictions and conflicts. I've enjoyed writing it. It's a life work. I'm very proud of it. It's something that you always want to achieve, and then, as a saying, everybody's got a book in them, and this is something that I've done that I spent nearly 3 years of my life on a full-time basis writing it. I'm not a natural writer. I wrote it out of purely of a dedication to my parents, and maybe wanting to share this story with the people in Hong Kong and in the UK and throughout the world. And this is something that I felt ashamed for many years, and writing it was great therapy. So I hope you will enjoy it. It's a bit of a heartfelt stuff, but it's certainly written from my perspective and very truthfully. And the one message that I really have for myself and for others is, sometimes, if I may share, is that even though your parents are gone, you still love them very much. And in fact, I love them more, and my love connection with them never dies, even though physically they're no longer on earth. I hope you enjoy it. I have a website, it's promoting it. Please have a look at the website and just have a look at the synopsis, and maybe you can have a review of it. And I'll be really, really glad to talk about it, or email me, let me know if you want to make some inquiries about it or ask some questions. It should be all told out in the book. But hopefully it'll be an enjoyable read, and it's something that you could possibly share with other people. Thank you very much, and goodbye.